want manifest, so you could get more clear on what you do want to manifest. So Amanda, yeah, it was so great running into you at the Sedona event and just keeping the vibe high and putting this love and light and information out into the world and making it accessible and applicable to use in your life today, right? Because that's what you want. You want, all right, give me the tools. How do I really create my reality? What do I need to know about imagination and emotions? Both are very juicy, deep topics that you could talk for hours about because we all have an imagination. We all feel emotions. And one of my favorite quotes goes back to Jane Roberts, who channeled Seth. If any of you guys, before kind of Abraham, really Jane Roberts and Seth were one of the main kind of published channels out there. And that was really, really woo-woo. That was esoteric. Like you go to the bookstore and you have to go to the occult section. Now it's the checkout counter when you're buying groceries. How to meditate, how to manifest. It's great to see how times are changing. People are waking the F up. And so my favorite quote, one of my favorite quotes from Seth was imagination and emotion, both of these, imagination and emotion are the most concentrated forms of energy that you possess as a physical being. And when you generate that emotion behind an image in your mind, it creates enough energy to send a rocket to the moon. So yeah, you create your reality and you get the right beliefs and the right image in your mind that you believe it, see it, and start to feel it. Yeah, the whole world, the whole universe is like whatever you want. And so I just love using imagination. I've used it on my, consciously and unconsciously. And I remember, back in the day getting started with this whole metaphysical, spiritual journey. And me and my brother and my mother, we started a t-shirt company called Tut, T-U-T, Totally Unique T-shirts, which later became Thoughts Become Things and the Notes from the Universe. But we would visualize, I was the artist, I would visualize seeing my t-shirt designs in store windows, see our designs, in shopping malls and like just all over the world. And, 3 years after working hard, selling t-shirts literally out of a push cart, we created a 7-figure business with imagination, emotion, affirmations, hard work, making all the mistakes that you can make. And it was a real testament of like, oh, this shit works. Yeah, like if you imagine it and feel it and believe it and take action towards it, it's gonna manifest. And even more currently, last year I was in the Boulder Comedy Festival, something I'd visualized myself getting into. And that was one of those manifestations. It's like, I visualized myself up here making people laugh. And now here I am. And, I was out at the Bashar event in Sedona doing some comedy and emceeing. And, I use visualization deliberately, consciously, quite often. And here's what I love about it. I wanted to make sure just this, but I want to remind you that this. There's what is reality, right? What your bills, your living situation, your car, your job, right? You've got your current reality situation. And one of the mistakes we make as manifestors is we allow what is reality to consume us, especially the negative, right? It's so easy to get sucked into the drama. And why aren't they doing this? And they should do that. And they need to fix this. And then you're pointing the finger and blaming everybody else, not taking care of your energy, your state of being. And in my book that I wrote, The 5 Mistakes That Manifestors Make, the first mistake is letting what is reality hold you hostage. And so we got to break free from what is and tune into what is coming, who you're becoming. And imagination is that gift that can take you from what is, oh no, the drama, the doom, my childhood, my chakras, I don't know what to do. It's like, stop, drop, and breathe into your heart and use your imagination to see it better than it is. And that's how to break out of that negativity or what is reality. And so we're going to do a real quick, we're going to do a couple little exercises here. One of them is, I love it. You know how Abraham Hicks talks about 68 seconds of holding a pure intention, a non-resistant thought for 68 seconds. And like the whole world, your whole point of attraction changes. The universe starts manifesting for you, but you got to get to 68 seconds. And most of us suck at holding a positive intention or focus for 68 seconds. We go 6 to 8 seconds and then we're like, look, a squirrel. And so I want you to think in the past 24 hours, 48 hours, today's only Tuesday. You can even use the weekend if you want. Think of 3 positive things that happened this weekend. And they don't have to be over the top, super positive. Oh my God, this great thing happened. It can be as simple as, this weekend I got some things done around the house. This weekend I paid my bills. This weekend I got outside and had fun. But you got to think of 3 things because you're going to play these in your mind to change your point of attraction. Because what we have a tendency to do is 100 things go wrong, 1 thing goes right, and we put all our focus on all the things that went wrong. We magnify what we don't want, what's wrong, and we minimize what did go well. So if this weekend was a shit show, but a couple things went well, we're going to put all our focus on the things that went well. And again, these don't have to be, like you won the lottery or something. So right now, write down real quick, what are a few things that you can focus on for 68 seconds that went well? You went to the grocery store, you got everything you need, you had money to pay for it, you got home safe. Okay, you could shine a spotlight on something that simple. For me today, I had a great call with a coaching client one-on-one. I recorded a really cool visualization for my membership called, meeting your future self. I can put a spotlight on those things. All right, so what we're going to do is there's going to be 68 seconds of silence, and you're deliberately going to focus on 2 or 3 things that were positive, and you're really going to magnify them. Like you're going to make them even more amazing than they actually were, right? You're purposely going to embellish and improvise, and you're going to play it again in your mind. You're going to tell the story in your mind. You're going to relive all the positive emotions, enhance the emotions, and notice where you are right now before you do the exercise. So like on a scale from 1 to 10, where are you right now? You can put it in the chat box. A 5 is you're content, you're satisfied. A 10 is you're blissing out, you're happy, you're excited. A 1 would be, depressed, fear, scarcity. So where are you at right now on a scale from 1 to 10? Okay, we got a 6, we got an 8. Put it in the chat box, a 6 and 8. Being at a 5 or a 4 is totally okay. 5 is a great place to be because you're satisfied, right? That Abraham says, satisfied with what is, excited for more, the best place to be. That's where you want it. So 5s are great. 2s are great because you can it's fun to go from a 2 to a 4. Okay, 5s, 8s, 6s. Okay. Now, in 68 seconds, you're going to change this number because you're going to replay in your mind a few things that happened good, right? You'll do 10, 15 seconds and you'll be like, I'm done. Play it again. Play it again. Magnify it. Make it bigger. Make it brighter. See things you didn't see before. Feel things you didn't feel before. All right? So we'll start off with a nice big clearing breath. Big breath on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Inhale. Exhale, just let it all go. Another big breath, inhale. Exhale with an just let it go. One more, inhale deeply. Hold the breath, hold it, push it down into your belly. 1, 2, 3, let it go. And with your eyes closed, breathing into your heart. I'm going to start the timer, and for 68 seconds, you're going to replay all the good things that have happened. Add the emotion, add the fun, just make it a joyful experience. Ready? Go. Keep going, keep going. Feel the emotion, double the intensity of whatever emotion it is. 10 seconds, keep it going. Replay it one more time in your mind. Okay, welcome back. All right, in 68 seconds, you literally changed your energy, your focus, because you deliberately focused on what you want using imagination. Imagination automatically generates emotion. And right now, you're summoning, you're at a higher frequency. Right now, you just go from like a 5 to a 7, an 8 to a 9. Maybe you got up to a 10. You can put it in the chat box. If you went up a notch, 1 or 2 is great. And you literally just used your imagination, activated some emotion, you magnified it. And so right now, the money that you want, you're literally attracting it to you. But we didn't focus on money. Right now, the lover you want, the travel, the career, the house, whatever it is you want, you're literally attracting it to you because you raised your frequency, you changed your point of attraction. See my hoodie, energy, frequency, vibration, your energy, you just changed your frequency and everything is just vibrating with just good vibes. It's all source, it's all divinity. There's just, we cut ourselves off from it sometimes. But yeah, like that's how beautiful and powerful this can all be. And it's always available at your fingertips. I do this exercise every week in my cafe, and everybody's always like, wow, it's just 68 seconds. Notice you didn't have to go deep dive into therapy. You didn't have to align all your chakras. You didn't have to heal your childhood trauma. You just deliberately, in this moment, used imagination and emotion to focus on already good things that are happening, and you raised your energy, you changed your point of attraction. That's how powerful you are as a creator of time, space, reality. And yeah, I just love this work, and I love that Amanda's in it. Thank you, Amanda, for bringing me into this, to share this with your amazing people here. And I know your masterclass is going to go deeper into emotion, imagination, and using, unlocking that joy to manifest whatever it is you desire. Because if you can ask, the universe will deliver.
Yeah. And thank you so much for Andy for being here. And it's like where you put your attention and focus, that you're sending energy there, and you're amplifying that all of the time. Yeah.
Yay.
That was awesome. I know. And I know, and that's a really good exercise too. Sometimes I practice things and then I move on to something else. But for a while in the evening, I would even think about, okay, what did I do today? What went well today? Because we start to focus on, the problems or whatever situation we're kind of noodling on, and our mind wants to attach to that. But when we stop and deliberately think about, oh, what did I do today that was really fun? What great things happened today? And that's a great thing to do right before you go to sleep. It's like it's kind of like having that appreciation and gratitude. And then as you go into sleep, you're drifting off in that vibration and in that momentum. So it's a great way to end your day, go into sleep. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. It's good stuff. Okay. Okay. And
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
That's all. Yeah, I just wanted to keep it short and sweet. I didn't, yeah. You can rock on with your masterclass.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much, Andy. And I
Thank
know our paths will intersect sometime in some place, sometime, and in the galactic too.
Yeah, I'm going to be back out in Sedona in January for the channel panel.
Ooh.
There's another event out there. It's called the channel panel. And, yeah, a bunch of channelers at the Sedona Performing Arts Center. And we're going to have after parties at Bell Rock again. So you guys are all invited.
Yeah. So if anyone has not been to Sedona, I highly, highly recommend it. I mean, it's just a great place in general, the energy and the vibration there. And when you go to an event there too, it just heightens everything. Yeah,
It does.
super cool. Okay, so and Andy also mentioned the imagination and using your imagination is such a big part of emotions. And there's a lot of studies done too. When you imagine something, it's as if it's happening in that moment. Your brain doesn't know whether it's actually happening at the moment or whether you're imagining it. And your imagination is that real. Your brain is secreting all of those hormones and chemicals as if that thing is happening. And that's why we want to feel the emotions of whatever it is that we want. Because why do we really want anything? It's for the feeling of it. And you don't need to delay that. You can feel it now. And that's why the feeling is the manifestation. It's always the feeling first. And so not saying, "Oh, I'll be happy when I get that," or I'll have fun when that thing happens. No, you can feel that now, and you're creating that vibration, and that's how you become a match to those things. And we're going to go even deeper into emotions. Um, you know, and a little bit more about me. So my path has been winding, and I call myself a recovering perfectionist. I have been a perfectionist for all of my life. I've been a CPA, an accountant, so very linear and logical, and have lived my life in my brain, analyzing things, dissecting things, figuring it out. And I actually was having a conversation with a client the other day. When we get in this mode of needing to figure things out, I need to understand. It's really from a control aspect of feeling that safe. I'll feel safe and secure if I am in control and if I understand that thing. But really what that does is it keeps you in your head, and it kind of traps you in your mind of trying to dissect everything. And then we get entangled with things. And what we really want to do is be in that alignment with our higher self, our inner being, source, whatever it is that you want to call it, whatever resonates with you. Because that alignment is when you have that access to infinite intelligence. When we're in our mind, it's like we have these blinders on and we only see what's in front of us, and we only know what we know. But when we open ourselves up and when we're in that alignment, we're in that receiving mode. And it's like, our inner being or source is up here and has this broader perspective that knows what it is that you desire, your preferences, and knows the path of least resistance to all of those things. So when we just step back and get out of the way, it becomes so much easier and it becomes a lot more fun. And that's something that I have really discovered for myself, just allowing myself to have more fun. And if you came on a little bit late, that's part of this Amandarella background. It's about being whimsical, having fun, not needing things to be in a box and perfect. And part of my path has been releasing resistance. So I was in this very structured corporate life, and things on the outside looked perfect because that's how I wanted them to look. That's what I wanted people to know. But underneath, there was still this, there was all of this churning and looping thoughts, and the looping thoughts were usually on something negative. And so I was a seeker. I've been a lifelong learner. I love learning. And now I feel like I'm still a lifelong learner. I feel like I learn in a different way now. It's more that alignment with myself and more of that remembering my own power, remembering to connect and hook up with that. I don't need to know all of the steps and the specifics. When I relax and allow, there's all this new inspiration. So my path has taken me down many different roads. I left my corporate job in 2018, traveled for about a year and a half, and just dove deep into a lot of metaphysics and spirituality, meditation. And I'm happy to say, I did all of that and discovered you don't need to do all that. It was part of my path. I love how Bashar calls it permission slips. And I learned a lot through doing that. And now on the other side of doing all of those things, I realize, oh, it really can be much easier. It can be much more simple. And the simpler we make it, the easier it is. And again, that's when we kind of get out of our own way and allow things to be simple, we're also allowing that divine part of us. We're allowing that alignment. We're in the alignment and opening up to all of those possibilities and opening up to the knowing that's more than just our analytical mind can figure out. So I've done different processes, different modalities, and I've kind of taken all of those things and now combine them into my own processes that I do for myself, that I do with clients one-on-one, and that I also do in group situations. And I mentioned my mastermind group, and we're just now wrapping up the third go round of that mastermind group. We've been doing it. We did 8 weeks, and then I did another 8-week, and then I did a 12-week, and now we'll be starting another one coming in November. And what I have discovered, what I have learned for myself, and also using with clients, is that emotions are just energy that wants to move. So there's, and I love Abraham Hicks. And I love listening to them. And the thing that happens for a lot of people, and what happened for me, was thinking, oh, I need to be in joy all the time for this to work, for me to be in my alignment. If I'm not in joy, I'm not in alignment, and I just messed everything up. I'm doing this wrong. And what I've discovered through different modalities, through channelers, and what's working for myself and my own channeling, is that no, you really haven't. Those emotions are your guidance system. Those emotions are your compass, your North Star. And if you're just pretending to be in joy and pretending to be in happiness all the time, it's like you've covered up your compass. You can't even see which direction you're going. And you really don't know where you are vibrationally. And it may work short term to, okay, it's like, and also if you picture that cork, it's like you're pushing that cork to the top instead of allowing it to rise, because our natural state is to be in that joy and in that bliss and the peace. But when we're constantly pushing ourselves up there, actually you're not doing yourself any favor, because you don't know where you are actually vibrationally. If you really want to know where you are vibrationally, just look at your reality, because that's reflecting what your true vibration is. And so it really is much more simple. It's allowing your emotions. Really mastering your emotions is feeling your emotions. Your emotions, how do you feel? Well, that's your emotions. And a lot of times it comes with a physical sensation. So it's being in tune with your body, paying attention to how you feel physically, and where you are emotionally. And the more you do this, the easier it becomes. And and it's true, the where you put your attention and focus is where your energy flows. So some people get a little freaked out. Oh my God, I can't have a negative emotion because then everything's in a spiral downward and I just messed up my whole vibration. Well, no, you didn't. The thing is to allow those emotions so the energy can move forward, because it wants to evolve. It wants to become something else. It wants to become that joy, that peace, that sense of that well-being, that all is well. But when we stop ourselves, when we resist the emotion because, oh no, I don't want to feel that, because either it's uncomfortable or you're judging yourself, I shouldn't feel that way, or you think, oh no, I'm going to mess up my vibration. You're stopping that energy. And when you allow that, when you realize, oh, this is just temporary, this is an emotion that is temporary, and if you allow yourself to move, to feel it, then it moves and that energy moves forward. And the more that you do this, the quicker that energy moves. It can move fast, fast, fast. So you actually may feel things more. You may feel them more intensely, because as you do this, you become even more sensitive. And that sensitivity is your superpower. It's not something to be afraid of. It's actually a superpower to be emotionally sensitive, because that, again, that's your guidance. And it's all those thoughts that come up. And as I mentioned before, before, when I was so in my head, so analyzing and logicking everything to death, and in those loops, it actually didn't feel good. And if I had been paying attention and in tune with my emotions, that guidance of this doesn't feel good would have been my indicator that, oh, these emotions or these thoughts are not the truth. These are things that my mind is making up, that I'm just getting in a negative loop. But a lot of times, in what I had done, I just kind of stopped feeling it, or it becomes like a habit, and it becomes your baseline, so that you don't even notice. So as you allow more your true emotions, you become even more sensitive. And so then when those thoughts come up that aren't the truth, you notice it quicker. And then that's when you can stop those thoughts and pivot to something else that feels better. So we're going to go through some specifics of, okay, here's what you do to move through those emotions. And something else that I always tell people, I've been working as a coach for 5 years, and listen to what resonates for you. And again, I love when Bashar talks about the permission slips, because it's giving yourself that permission to follow what feels better. And that's for you. And that's one of the biggest things too, of really, I don't want to say take it, for lack of better words, like taking back your power, being your own master, that you are your own master, not relying on someone else, because, someone else can be your guide. And again, those permission slips, you may find, oh, this channeler I really like. And then you may get to a point like, oh, I feel like I'm not really vibing on that anymore. There's something else. Allowing yourself to follow that, because that's your permission slip, and that's your own internal guidance. So always listening to yourself inward, going inward. How does this feel to me? Does it resonate with me? And something that resonates with you at some point may change tomorrow or next week or next month. And it's okay, because it's not a straight path. Oftentimes it's a very winding path. And that's what mine has been. It's been kind of this winding path of, I need to figure this out. I really, there's a trick here. There's something I need to know. There's a secret. But you know what? It's not. It's actually very simple when we allow it. And that's the thing. Sometimes we want to make it more complicated than it is, but it doesn't have to be. It actually can be very simple. And following your own path, whether it is straight or winding, it's perfect for you, knowing that nothing has ever gone wrong. You are always in the right place at the right time, and that all is well. And when you just keep repeating things like that to yourself, and everything is working out for me, you really are amplifying those things and proving it to yourself. So also something I wanted to mention. So, and this is not, so what Abraham teaches, this actually does go along with what they teach, but what sticks in our mind most of the time is that, oh, I need to be in joy all the time. But one of my favorite hot seats with Abraham Hicks was actually from the San Diego workshop that I went to in August. And there was a woman that got in the hot seat, and she said from the very beginning, I hate my negative emotions. And Abraham was just like, oh, well, we don't want you to hate your negative emotions because they're your guidance system. We want you to allow your negative emotions because they are guiding you. Because again, when you don't allow them, you don't really know where you are vibrationally, and you don't know where you are on that emotional guidance scale. And it's not about being in perfection as I was trying to do for a big part of my life, being in that perfect setting. It's realizing there's going to be ups and downs, twists and turns in that path, and allowing all of it. So Abraham also talks about contrast, and allowing contrast. That's that step 5 moment of realizing, oh, this isn't quite where I wanted to be, and being okay with it. The more you can let go of judgment of yourself, of your emotions, of circumstances, the less resistance you will have. And again, when we resist emotions, we're creating resistance for ourselves. And that resistance just builds up, builds up, builds up, builds up. And when we do these processes, and when we allow ourselves to feel, that vibration is just rising, 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 and you'll see more synchronicities in your life. You'll feel better overall. You'll feel better in your body. Your body is a reflection of your vibration. You'll notice more of those like instant manifestation. So, and back to that Abraham hot seat. So they went along with this woman, talked her through. And if you go to the workshops, you can see and you can sense where Abraham is leading someone, and you can see and feel their vibration shift as they go along. So they got to this point and they asked the woman, okay, we're going to ask you where you're at. We're going to give you multiple choices. So A, I'm beating up on myself and I'm still pushing against this negative emotion. Or B, I'm embarrassed about my negative emotion, especially since I'm up here on the stage. Or C, I'm curious about my negative emotion. Or D, I'm thankful for my negative emotion because it's my feedback and it's guiding me. And of course, everyone in the audience knew it's D. But she went back to her old vibration and said B, I'm embarrassed. And that's okay. So, and again, it's knowing where you are vibrationally and being honest about it. But then, Abraham redirected her again of, we want you to be okay with those negative emotions. We don't want you to put a happy face sticker on your gas gauge and pretend that you've got gas when you don't. It's not helping you. It's actually it might be to your detriment. And it's building up resistance. So that was a really fun conversation. So, and again, a lot of this for me too has been that getting out of my head and getting more into the sensing and the feeling, because that's when we're also in that alignment, in that receiving mode. And I talk a lot about the blending of you and you. It's really the physical part of you and the non-physical part of you. That physical part of you that has the emotions, the desires and preferences, and that non-physical part of you that is source. And remembering you are source. It's not separate from you. It is you. And remembering that more and more, and tapping into that, tuning into it. It's always there, but with our resistance, it's like we stop the flow. And so we're releasing resistance, so we open up that flow and we can get in that alignment and in that receiving mode. And something I want to stress too, people get in these modes, and I know I did this in the past too, of feeling like I must be doing something wrong, or there's something broken because this isn't working. And you're not a self-improvement project. So when you cut yourself some slack, have that self-compassion, and knowing you're already perfect. You don't need to fix yourself. You're not broken. It's just, it really is a change in perspective. And I can't stress enough how changing your perspective to lightening up has such a huge impact. We want to call spirituality so serious, and we need to be so serious about it. That actually just creates a lot more resistance. And I know for me, especially when I first got into it, I was so serious. I've got to take this seriously. And the more that you can laugh and have fun with it, the better it is, and the better your life will be, and that releasing of resistance. And I know laughter is one of the highest vibration things that you can do. And when you laugh, it's like energetically resistance is just falling off of you. So the more you can laugh, the better. Okay, so I have some points that I'm going to go through, and I'm also going to be sending these out in a handout later after the workshop, so that you can have these as a reference to go back and look at. So, as I mentioned, emotions are just energy. They are energy that wants to move, and it can move quickly when we allow it. So that's the other thing. When we allow the emotion, it can actually move quickly. And that's when, we're not entangling with it. We don't get stuck in it, and it can move. And that's really what mastering your emotions is about, is allowing that quick movement of the energy. And so that it can evolve, it can transform. And realizing emotions are just a natural part of being human, and that's the other thing. We want to think, I'm spiritual, I shouldn't be having these emotions. Well, guess what? You're still human, and as long as you're in this body, you're still going to have emotions, and you're going to have a range of emotions. And so the quicker you accept that, and that you're always going to have a range of emotions, the better off you'll be. Again, it's releasing that resistance. And when we do that, we just allow that energy to flow and realize that they are temporary. And releasing that judgment, that all emotions are valid, you're not wrong, and not even calling your emotions wrong. It's still, just for better or lack of better words, like the positive and negative emotions. I have these emotional guidance scales all over my place, because Abraham hands these out at all of their workshops. So there is a range of emotions going from top to bottom, and at the bottom is fear, grief, and depression, and you can walk yourself up the emotional scale. And it's really about feeling better. Especially if you're in fear or grief, it's not about I'm going to jump for joy. Good luck. It may work very temporarily, but again, that's like putting the happy face sticker on your gas gauge. It's really about feeling better. And if you're in fear and grief, even getting up to rage or revenge is moving up the vibrational scale. So knowing where you're at vibrationally. Okay, so I'm going to walk you through. So to me, for myself, and what I always tell clients and do with my group is knowing where you are vibrationally. So I break it down into 3 different areas. So if you're having an emotion and it's something quick, it's something light, and it's not a really heavy or dense emotion, the first thing you can do is pivot. So Abraham has been saying a lot like this, flick it off, and now what? So just noticing it, again, it's just that awareness. Oh, that irritated me, or I'm pissed off. Like, so this morning I was crossing the crosswalk, and a car didn't wait and started coming through the crosswalk. It irritated me. I got a little annoyed, but I allowed myself to feel it and flick it off. And it's like, okay, flick it off. And now what? Now I'm going to go on with my walk and go back into ease or appreciation, whatever it is. But just, that split second of allowing whatever is there, not making yourself, oh, that's wrong, I shouldn't feel that. Because we have those emotions, and it's okay. Nothing has gone wrong. And the next one, so if you're feeling the intention or the emotion more intensely, it's tuning into that emotion and feeling the physical sensations of it. So focusing on the feeling of it. And for me, that is the physical sensation. So sometimes you can feel it in your body. And this is where imagination comes into. So, and I also do this process with clients. I do this as part of a calibration process. That's part of the Mallison method that I learned from Gina Mallison. And so you're really taking that emotion and you're assigning attributes to it, because you're getting out of your head about it, and you're just letting yourself feel it by assigning it these attributes. So, if you're somewhere, just even closing your eyes and taking some deep breaths. Okay, what am I feeling? Am I angry? Am I sad? Am I in fear? Just taking a moment to just identify it. And even if you don't know the exact emotion, it's okay. And then asking yourself, where do I feel this? Do I feel it in my chest? Does it feel like a constriction in my chest? Do I feel it in my shoulders? Do I feel it in my belly? Is it heavy, light, or medium? Does it have a color? Does it have a texture or material? And so an example of this, I would even walk myself through something like this, or if I'm working with a client, I ask them these questions. But if you're on your own, you can just go through these simple things. And so something that comes up for me a lot, if I'm feeling anger, it's like, I'm feeling a fire. And I can feel the heat, like usually in the back of my neck, between my shoulder blades. And then I can just picture that fire. And sometimes I can just let that fire get even bigger. And that's the thing of just allowing yourself to feel that. So you're not trying to justify it, like, why do I feel this? No, you're just allowing it, because it's not a head process. It's a feeling process. It's an emotion to be felt so that it can move. And so this process actually should be very quick. It should be a minute, 2 minutes. If you're really feeling it, it might, be up to 2 or 3 minutes, but it should move. And again, it's not like, oh, I'm feeling a fire. Oh, now I'm enjoy. Like, when you tune in and you actually let yourself feel it, there will be a point where you feel that peak, and then you'll feel the energy of it move. You'll feel that little shifting, and it may just be ever so slightly, but that's that energy moving. And then once you feel that move, where am I now? Ooh, am I feeling relief? Ooh, maybe I can get to ease from here. And then you're moving up that scale. And that may be good. That may be perfect for you, because you're just trying to get to a better feeling. So that's the second one. So the third one would be if you're really feeling some intense feeling, and maybe this is something that's recurring. What I like to do is write. And so sometimes I'll call it journaling. It's really not journaling, because it's not a story. It's not like I'm going to write about my emotions for an hour and make a story of it. No, because that is that is creating a lot of momentum around it, and you're entangling with it. What you're doing is you want to get out a piece of paper and a pen or pencil, whatever you want to write with, and something that you can throw away afterwards, because you're not journaling to keep this, you're writing to move emotion. And you could do this on a computer. Some people even like to use their phone and type in their notes. For me, I like to physically have that paper and pen, and as if you're writing from your inner child, and just letting it out, letting that come out, just not even letting your pen stop, just writing whatever is there, and from the emotion. And oftentimes when I do this, it becomes chicken scratches. It's not really even readable. And so don't pay attention to spelling, punctuation, because again, you're just moving the emotion. And again, it should be fairly quick. And then you should feel the energy of it move. And I remember one time I did this, and it, it was, I was upset with someone, and it was something recurring. I just was like, okay, I'm just gonna get out a piece of paper. And I was, writing some curse words and just da 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 da, letting it out. And then I started laughing, because it got to the point where it was a little absurd, and I started laughing. And I was like, okay, the energy shifted. Now, you won't always have that happen of, ending up laughing. But again, it's just to show you that you should feel that energy move. And it's just about feeling better, and just Okay, that feels better. I feel some relief. Take that paper, crumple it up, throw it away. Don't keep it because, and maybe you even want to burn it. Maybe that feels better to you, or maybe you want to rip it up, doing that physical part of it. Again, it's all about moving the energy of the emotions and allowing it. So you're not justifying the emotion. You're not entangling with the emotion of, oh my gosh, this must be because this person did this to me 30 years ago. You may have things like that come up where you recognize a trigger from the past, and that's okay. But again, not entangling with that. You can just have the awareness of that and allow that to shift also, because as your vibration goes up, you will notice those things from time to time, and having those awarenesses of, oh, I can tell I'm having a vibrational shift on this, and there's just things from the past that are falling away. You don't even have to know what they are. You don't need to go in and dissect them, but just knowing that that energy is shifting and your vibration is shifting. And again, you don't need to go back and entangle with those. I've done some of those things in the past, and sometimes it may feel like, oh, this is helping. And it, again, permission slips. If it feels better to do that, allowing that. But as your vibration rises, those things will just shift and move away from you. And it really is about the feel better. And it's about the compassion for yourself, having compassion for where you are, having compassion for your own emotions. And it's really learning these self-soothing techniques. So, and the more that you do this, again, it allows that emotion to move. It's not entangling with it, and it allows your vibration to rise. And as your vibration rises, you will naturally enjoy more. You will naturally laugh easier. You will naturally have better feeling thoughts. And I've really experienced this, especially over the last couple of years. My thoughts have shifted, and something that I used to, when I would wake up in the middle of the night, that's when like some of those thoughts would come up that are not as pleasant feeling thoughts. And now when I wake up, sometimes I have some really fun thoughts. And more about what it is that I do want. And that's the other thing too. You're allowing these emotions to move, and then you're saying, now what? Because also underneath the negative emotion is usually clarity of what you do want. Okay, what is it? I see what I don't want. Obviously, there was some contrast and there was some negative emotion, and it's okay. And allowing that to move. Now what? What do I want? And the more also you keep pivoting to what you do want, you'll notice your thoughts going there more and more. And as you do these things, it is like you're retraining your brain, but you're doing it all through vibration. Everything is vibration. And I love that Andy brought up also the fact, one of the things he said in the 5 mistakes that people make is looking at circumstances, looking at what is, because we're trained to do that. We're trained that, this is the way it is, this is where I'm at. But when your vibration rises and you realize nothing is static, nothing is permanent. Everything is always changing. And there are multiple versions, multiple realities, and everything is vibrational. So you shift your vibration and you are shifting your reality. You know, you can also see this in other people. When you shift your vibration, you will notice other people showing up differently. Oh, I remember so and so used to just complain all the time. I didn't really like being around them, but now, oh, they're being so different. Well, you shifted your vibration. And so this came up last week. I think, yeah, someone brought up a question with relationships. Relationships are a great example because when you get in the mode of expecting a certain behavior from someone, well, you're creating that reality. You're keeping that permanency and consistency. But when you shift your vibration and realize that everything is always changing and there are different realities that you're tuning into, you will see a different version of that person show up. So it's and having that expectation, oh, I can shift my vibration. And it's not about manipulating or trying to control. It's the opposite of that. It's controlling what you can, which is your vibration, and knowing that everything, if you think of yourself as the center of your universe and everything is revolving around that. So everything revolves based on your vibration, your thoughts, your emotions, all of those make up your vibration. Okay. So that those are the steps that I use for myself, that I use with clients, that I use in my mastermind group. And so we talk about these over and over. And, sometimes people will ask the question a different way, and it's really the same answer. Just like Abraham says, well, we can talk all day. It's the same answer. But it is, it does, it shifts your perspective. And also something, and I love the exercise that Andy did at the beginning, something else that we do in the mastermind group, and also when I do the calibration process with clients. So we're releasing that resistance. And so if you think of vibrationally, your inner being, that non-physical part of you, it's just unconditional love. It's always in this vibration of unconditional love. And when you're in a wobble, feeling that vibration down here, and as you release resistance, you're coming up to this level of being in alignment again with your inner being, with that source part of you. And that's when those inspirations come through, when those better feeling thoughts. And you'll get to those emotions that do feel better. It depends what's going on. Sometimes you might get to joy. Sometimes it may just be ease. Ease is a great place to be. I love to be in ease, ease and flow. But we also focus every morning on tuning to those emotions, tuning to the emotions that you do want to feel, because it does become like a muscle, that muscle memory of how you want to feel. And I remember at a point, when I was going through different programs, different processes, I had done some processes that were more based on thoughts and reframing, and they were helpful, but for me, it still kept me in my head. And it helped to release some resistance for me. But I was like, I want to be happier. I want to feel those things. How do I feel that? And so that's one of the things too that the tuning processes do. It helps as you feel into those emotions. It creates that muscle memory because again, when you're using your imagination, your brain is like a chemical factory. It's secreting all of those hormones and chemicals as if you're in joy, as if you're in ecstasy, as if you're in bliss. And you will notice over time how that changes things in physically in your body, how it changes how you feel, your thoughts. It changes everything. You'll notice more synchronicities that, sometimes it's crazy, the synchronicities that come up all of the time. And something else we do in the mastermind group, this time we called it the treasure hunt, and this next one will be doing something with magic, is focusing on something that we're going to look for during the week. So, and this is really from the blue glass and butterflies. If Esther or Abraham has told this story a lot, when Esther was working with people one-on-one, this woman just was not having it. She was like, just tell me, what I need to know. And she was like, well, why don't you focus on blue glass and butterflies? And the woman did not want to. And then Jerry and Esther were out and about. I think they were in La Jolla at the time. And then they started seeing blue glass and butterflies everywhere. And it's a great example of what you focus on will show up in your reality. And especially focusing on something like that has no resistance, you'll notice how much it shows up. And so this last week we've been doing pickles, and it is hilarious. Some of the ways pickles have shown up, and they show up everywhere. And it's a fun game. And that's the thing, making things fun and light. And life really can be a game to enjoy when we allow it, because again, it's all playing with energy, it's playing with vibration. I was going to say something else about the tuning. So it is, those focusing on those emotions and what we want to feel. And also the process is also kind of evolving as we go through these masterminds. It's really for everyone to tune in to get your own receiving. So you might receive images or sounds or colors, and I'll give suggestions, but it really is for each person to tune in and see what are you receiving, because that's part of your alignment. We're getting into those good feelings, those emotions, you're in that alignment, and then just having that yummy inspiration. And it's so fun to do, and it's fun to see this whole process that's been evolving over time. Okay, so I've been talking a lot, so I want to watch the time. So we've got about 17 minutes left. I want to allow for questions, comments. Oops, I just minimized my screen. And if you can raise your digital hand, Betsy. Oh,
Here's something. Hi, everybody. Here's something interesting. And I've been getting, I didn't realize it was that Andy Dooley. I've been getting those letters from the universe for years.
What? And his brother is Mike Dooley also.
Oh, maybe it's Mike. It's
Yeah.
Mike who sends those. Yeah. Okay. Or
Yeah.
who sends those. Yeah. I get those from him. Okay. Oh, that's funny. Okay. Because at first I thought it was like our Andy, who's on this call now from Malibrators group. And I was like, oh, that would be fun to hear Andy speak. That's why. And then I was like,
there's
wait, his last name's
Andy Multiverse. Oh, and there's the
Right.
other, and then assertive Andy also.
Right. Okay. No, I was
in
thinking
that
of
same
Andy
group.
Multiverse, who we know from our other group.
Yeah.
And but then I was like, oh wait, but that's not his last name. He's Monheit. And then I was like, what? And then but the Dooley rang a bell. And then when he said it was I was like, oh, okay, but Mike, you're right. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. That's
Yeah.
why I totally get it. But I want to do something interesting. So I had this thing I'm trying to manifest. You know what it is. And it's just like, to me, it brings me the greatest possible joy, as much joy as it was when I found and married my husband, as much joy as I felt when I had my children, or the having of my children, all that, being a mom. It's that much joy to me. And so it's not work. There's like not have to, this simply doing this and having this experience would be just, to me, the most beautiful thing ever. It would be work, but it would be play. Um, and so what it's funny when I'm like feeling it, and I'm all about my emotions, all of the negative ones too. It's fine. They are what they are. But it's funny because my brain, when I'm like in a bad mood, I'm like, ugh, like, real estate's getting to me or whatever, my brain automatically shifts without me thinking to putting myself in that experience that I'm wanting so badly. And I'm like, wait,
Mhm.
and then I worry that I'm like equating it with something negative. And I'm like, no, your brain is literally putting you where you'd rather be at this
Yes.
moment. So I think that that's a good thing, right?
It is,
Okay.
yes. And the more time you spend in your imagination, and your imagination is more real. It's like those emotions are pure, and yeah, you're living it when you're
Yeah.
living that in your imagination.
And thank you, because it's true. Pure is the right word. When I feel good anyway. Like most of the time, like everybody, I like my job. My life is good. I'm happy. There's highs and lows. There's wonderful, just normal, neutral points. But that experience that I'm wanting to manifest is so pure and so joyful, and like comes back to like the inner, it's really all about the inner being of me. Real
Mhm.
estate and all that, it's not really my inner being. It's more of the material part of me that I enjoy, and it's the brain part, and it's all that, and I do really love it. But the true inner essence of me would be in this, or lives in this
Yeah.
manifestation thing. Yeah. Okay, well, thank you. I just wanted to double check and share that.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
I'm so glad you're here. Okay, Rachel.
I'm so happy to be on this today. Oh my gosh, just so good. And I just have to say, like, so I've been having these headaches, right? And these headaches have been just like all consuming. And I've been like asking for guidance. In fact, I had these like dowsing rods, and today I was with them and I was just like, I need support. Like I'm asking you to help me with my health. And I'm just believing you. And I was like, asking the dowsing rods about it, whatever, just playing around. And I just really left it kind of like what you said at the beginning, where it's like you've played around with all of these different things, you've studied everything. And sometimes it's just like get into the vibration and let go of all the other crap.
Hmm.
So, anyway, leading up to the call, I was really noticing my feelings as you've taught us to do in the mastermind, which has like been so helpful. And I was like, oh, it's so interesting that these migraines are coming on when I know my husband's coming home. I've got the baby and my son, and I've got so much to do, and they go away by maybe 8:30 when the kids are in bed. So it's like 4:30 to 8:30. And you're talking about it, and I'm laying down with the baby. And I just said, okay, I'm just going to feel this emotion. And I really didn't want to feel the headache, and the headache kept getting worse. In 30 seconds, the headache was gone.
Yeah.
And I didn't even realize that the headache I wasn't even realizing all of the stressful thoughts were there. So I didn't even know until tonight. And it was like, and then you were talking about how quickly it could go. And I'm like, I didn't even have to suffer for 3 minutes.
Yeah.
I
And
suffered for
yeah.
about 30 seconds and it was gone.
Hmm. And that's the thing. It's like you can feel that release of resistance, and it can just,
Yeah.
and that's the thing, like things can shift so fast.
Yeah. It was a fast
Yeah.
shift and I just really enjoyed it. But I appreciated your story because, like, even though I've been working with you for a year, some of the things that you shared, I didn't realize. And it was just really, really nice to hear. Um, I think you talk about yourself and how you've gotten here because it's just really inspiring. Thank you. And I am really excited about the next mastermind. But this was like a big moment for me. I think mostly because I didn't know the thoughts that I was having. I
Yeah.
didn't know that I was actually bringing my way to that with thoughts, and that was kind of free. I just thought the headache was something else, and it was so much easier than that.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, and that's part of that emotional sensitivity too, because when we get in our space of just kind of numbing out, or we get busy, not paying attention to
yeah,
emotions, but when our vibration rises, we actually become more sensitive to those emotions. And again, that's a good thing, because you notice, oh yeah, I'm just kind of letting those thoughts bounce around that don't feel good.
I almost wonder if like I don't want to call it a problem, but thinking that the headache was just a headache was the problem, instead of allowing myself to feel it, like any pain in the body. It's like, oh, what is that?
Yeah, it could. And that's everything in the body is, a reflection too, that our body is a feedback loop. So, and this is the thing too, of not getting too deep into, oh, what did I do wrong? How did I create this? Because you really want to shift into, okay, well, how do I want to feel? Like allowing the emotion to move, and then how do I want to feel? And knowing that your body shifts all the time too, and it can just be like that. And there's spontaneous healings that happen all of the time, and that's really what it is. It's a vibrational shift.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, that was awesome. Well, thank you. This is such a great evening.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad you're here.
Oh my gosh, loved it.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.